Okay.
Chupacabra build number 25. We have a kind of a little different video today for our quarter century video. Instead of talking about a particular feature or part of the car, I'd like to talk about the design process, how one thing affects another, how, as I've said times before, I built the car one time, changed the muffler bracket back there. Before I was done, I had to change the throttle pedal bracket to make it all work. But how everything is interwoven and how everything affects everything on a design process. And I have a particular design piece on this car right now that will cram every bit of that into a 15-minute video. It's going to be kind of like the opening of The Big Bang Theory on television, where they crammed 14 million years of evolution into the opening theme song. So here we go. See this right here? Come over on this side. Look right here. We got a horn on either side. I haven't done this side yet. I've done that side. This pigtail on this horn came with the horn. And I got to looking at that, and when you have economy, trying to do economy of parts, I said, can I use that for the ground on this horn instead of having to buy another or build another ground? As I had told you in an earlier video, we had this junction box here that was going right back on the back of this fan shroud. You can see I've removed all the radiator for this, but anyway, there's 6 different grounds here that all have to go to ground, and I was using this block back there to do it. We got to look at this. Remember this wire right here. That's where everything starts from. That's what we're going to come back to. Us. Can I do something that I don't have to build another ground wire? And I thought, well, what if I put a rib nut stud in here, bolted it down, and then ran the wire from there, did something like that? You know, yeah, that'll work, but man, that's a whole lot of effort to try to save, a whole lot of effort, a whole lot of hardware to try to save a ground wire. And then I thought, remember, I've told this before, remembering back to my mentor Don Hardy at Don Hardy Race Cars in Florida, Texas, back in the 70s, if you didn't have a Don Hardy chassis in Pro Stock, you just weren't going to go anywhere. But his big design influence on me was to make every bracket, every part do 2 functions. And so I said, okay, if I'm going to put a stud in there, what else can it do? What else do I need done here? Well, this bracket right here, the alternator, the radiator shroud, and so forth, I was intending to rivet it into this piece here, and then this bolts to the chassis back here. Well, I was having a problem with that because if I rivet it, I like to leave this exposed, this black, nice aluminum composite finish. I'm going to have to paint that. I'm going to have to mask that off or something. I can't paint the whole thing because then my glue won't work right there. I'd be gluing to paint. You don't want to do that. And I had a little design issue with that. I said, well, what if, instead of riveting this thing together, come around here and look. What if I screwed it on? And I could put my my rib nuts in here that I needed and screw that thing on. And now then, this stays a removable piece. I can stay this finish and not have to paint all that for no good reason. Then I can just paint these and bolt it together. And I have my bolt piece. And I said, that's a good idea. I like that. So I've replaced my rivets here with these. And while I'm talking about it, I want to show you these rib nuts. You'll notice that I'm coming through from the back side of these things. Typically, you want to screw that rib nut, you know, in like this, but it'll screw in from that side just as easy. So I'll put the rib nuts on the outside here, and I'm screwing in from this side. What that does is, if I had that head right there sticking through, then I don't have a good flat surface right here for this to seal to. So if I do like that, then these 2 surfaces right here go together just fine. So that's screwing in like that. And now look back on this side. Let me get this side just off. Look back on this side and see how I've done my nuts there. Now that I've got that, I said, okay, well, what if I just use plain old, some plain old wiring hardware, some Y's and T's and so forth that we have over in the wiring pile over here in plenty quantity. And why don't I just build a junction box there for my ground wires, which is exactly what I've done over here. I've already finished this side. I've got the one main wire that runs to the junction box here, and I've got all my grounds and so forth ran to that and back, and this hole that I've got cut in this piece, I just planned that perfect. Knew exactly where I wanted that before I ever knew I was going to do this, and just planned it to perfection years ago or months ago when I was clueless about how to do that. But anyway, now then, I have a 50-cent junction box there instead of this $10 one. Same thing's going to happen on the other side. I've just got a terminal stud right here that I've put behind that. I'm just going to slip onto that terminal there. I've got that backwards, but you get the idea. That goes on to there, whatever. I forget how it goes. But anyway, that's my junction box for all my ground wires on this side. Now the other thing it does, this terminal block that was down here, I showed you on an earlier video, it was right down here. Well, I've got two more terminal blocks like this up here that I've showed you, one on either side of the fender wells. That is where all my grounds tie to, and then that runs with a number 10 gauge wire back to the battery. Well, these right here, these come in various lengths, like 4, 6, 8, 10, up to like 16 terminal rows here. These right here need to be at least 6 long to make all my terminals work. This right here, the longest one that I need is 4 terminals, and the longest one that will fit is 4 terminals. But stuff like this just drives me crazy. I cannot stand the fact that I've got this terminal block to go right here and those terminal blocks to go right there. It either needs to be a 4 or it needs to be a 6. To have a 4 to go right here and all the rest 6, it just drives me crazy. So, this thing right here, it used to be right here, used to be a $10 part, and by the way, they're a lot cheaper than $10, but to get one that's rated at over 20 amps, which you're going to need, turns into a $10 part. Take that $10 part, and I'm going to put it not in the scrap pile, in the good parts that I didn't use pile. And I'm going to put 50 cents worth of terminals down here, and I'm going to make a really nice, cool detail. But what I want to point out is the design process of all of that. Remember that ground wire hanging down over there? That's what started this whole thing, just a ground wire. And now then we have totally redesigned a whole bunch of stuff over just a 6-inch long ground wire. I think that's about what I wanted to show you on that. I think we'll wrap that one up.